From Squallywood, it's the Dan and Run Show!
Is a narrow stance desirable or just history? Stay tuned, because I am Dan.
And I am Ron.
And we are
the Dan and Ron Show. The narrow stance is how good skiing was defined in the 1950s.
Wedeln was as cool as a flat top haircut and more popular than your grandfather's Chevy Bel Air.
Ein Skipapst sieht den vermeintlichen Gipfel der skitechnischen Entwicklung erreicht.
Wedeln was elegant and made it easy to spot the best skier on the mountain. You have to wonder, with the legs glued together, was there a balance issue? When we stand on one leg, balance is not so easy. So the next best thing is to attach the two legs together. Even though there is only one base of support, there are two legs that are now working together. The balance-trained neuromuscular system in each leg is now doubled. Also notice in the wedeln, the base of support is under the center of mass. This doesn't challenge balance so much. Also, the stance was not the only thing tight. The pants were tight also. Very sexy.
This tight stance worked fine with the very upright or vertical position of the time. With the equipment of the day and those pants, you did not see them dragging knucks either. None of the high edge angles you see today.
In the old days, angulation was limited, and the result was low edge angles.
We essentially evolved from a very rotary emphasis to more edge and pressure.
Let's use that as a segue and fast forward to today and look at two components of stance.
Today, as a rule of thumb, we start with our feet about hip width apart.
This width of stance lines up with the line of action from the hips. Even so, when we add in the high edge angle, the width between the feet has not really changed, only the vertical distance.
To achieve this high edge angle, our demo team coach has flexed his inside hip, flexed or softened his inside knee, which creates vertical separation, or long leg, short leg.
Without this vertical separation, the skier with high edge angles can boot out. This is when the boot essentially contacts the snow and levers the ski out of its track.
And don't forget, this independent leg action of the vertical separation will be needed in those steep-sided moguls.
So as skiing has evolved, we have gone from skiing with very little edge angle to skiing with extreme edge angles. We have evolved from vertical to horizontal skiing.
This fits nicely with how we teach. We start keeping our skis flatter, learning to twist and turn or rotate them. Then we evolve into using more edge and pressure. Modern skis have allowed us to get our feet out from underneath our body. This allows skiers to go from a vertical to a more modern horizontal orientation.
So why do we keep hearing the advice of widen the stance?
It could be just to look more contemporary, to enhance balance, better access to edging, or the environment.
In ski racing, a wider stance seems to ebb and flow into the headlines every decade or so.
Buddy Werner in 1963.
Patrick Russell in the 1970s.
Norwegian Ole Christian Furseth in the 1990s.
And more recently in the 2010s, Mario Mott. The area described by the skier's base of support is called the polygon of sustentation. This is usually the area created between the skis but can grow larger when the poles are added in. A bigger base is more stable, like an American football lineman. He stands with his feet very wide. He doesn't want to get knocked over. Although the basketball player, trying to draw a foul, positions his feet very close. He wants to get knocked down. Sports are crazy.
As a general rule, this wide stance is important to the ski racer because it increases the race of support, although it takes more time going edge to edge.
Since the stance is wider, the center mass must travel a greater distance entering the new turn. The center mass distance is reduced in a flash because the feet are more under the body.
I hope we have not biased a narrow or a wide stance.
And that we have laid out the evolution that should start with a hip width stance and get wider and narrower as conditions and demands dictate.
Hey bro, we forgot one of my faves. Soft snow, POW, deep soft snow, where a closer stance acts to increase ski surface area, providing additional lift. This gives you a chance to get to breathe now and then.
Good catch. Let's start our summary with soft snow under narrow stance.
And hard snow under a wider stance.
Let's put flushes under the narrow stance.
And moguls under the narrow stance.
Steeper hill under wider stance.
Flatter hill under narrower stance.
Remember, these are just rules of thumb. Keep an open mind.
A summary of the summary could be the stance should be athletic for the situation.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time on the
Dan and Ron Show.
Relandig fyr som är sadom med sprit när Kate största skidbara is.